It starts with the forcing of an unintentional foot contact in the circle, resulting in the award of a penalty corner. These days seen as an uncontentious and unremarkable incident and totally accepted, whereas in fact it ought to be rejected completely. Why should it be rejected? Because it is contrary to rule. Let's have a look at what happened. The attacker gets onto the baseline, the defender covers on the baseline and is also covering his feet. There was an open pass to the other forward in the circle, but instead of trying to dribble past the defender on his right hand side, doing a cut in and a pass to the other attacker, or playing a direct pass to the other attacker, the attacker with the ball opts to play the ball with a flick directly at the shins of the defender in front of him. What was he trying to do? A ball along the parallel to the baseline, which with that one would have been easily cut out by the goalkeeper. The best he could hope for was a long corner, or perhaps a dangerous play foul off the goalkeeper. The ball went out of play off the defender anyway, so what do we have? Contact by the defender, which is neither intentional nor gains any benefit for him, and a deliberate playing of the ball into the defender by the attacker. The defender, therefore, according to the rule, has not committed an offence. Whether or not the attacker has committed an offence is open to debate. The reason this is open to debate is because of a number of very poorly conceived and written rule changes in the last 10 years or so. We begin with the deletion of forcing in 2011. The rule, which used to say that players must not force an opponent into offending unintentionally, is deleted because any action of this sort can be dealt with under other rules. In 2011, it was not possible to force an opponent into offending unintentionally, because the ball-body contact rule at that time stated that an offence was committed only if the contact was intentional or made voluntarily. Therefore, offending unintentionally is an oxymoron, and doubly so if the contact has been forced by an opponent. So we start with a double lie, and then we build onto that another double lie. Any action of this sort can be dealt with under other rules. The forcing rule has been deleted, but the offence of forcing has not. But if the ball was played along the ground, only the forcing or dangerous play rules could apply. And here forcing is deleted. The current rule 9.9, the explanation of, says that players are permitted to raise the ball with a flick or a scoop provided it is not dangerous, and then goes on to say a flick or a scoop towards an opponent within 5 metres is considered dangerous. We put that together with the 2011 statement that playing the ball into an opponent can be penalised under other rules, and we can apply rule 9.9 to the action of the attacker along the baseline because the ball was raised with a flick. Despite the FIH Rules Committee and the FIH Umpiring Committee declaring that they liaise with each other in the writing of the rules, they seem to enjoy contradicting each other. This is from the Umpire Manager's Briefing, which is produced by the Umpiring Committee. Blow only in dangerous situations everywhere on the pitch. Forget lifted, think danger. This is a direct contradiction of what is given in Rule 9.9, that a lifted hit should be judged explicitly on intention. It then goes on to contradict what is given in the explanation of Rule 9.9 about a ball raised towards an opponent. Low balls over defender's stick in a controlled manner that hit half shin pad are not dangerous. Rule 9.9 of course has informed us that any ball raised towards an opponent within 5 metres is dangerous play. Finally, the umpire is advised to use common sense and show understanding of the play. So okay, let's apply this here. It's not possible to tell from the video whether the ball has been raised above 8 inches or not. So in the first instance, if the ball is below 8 inches, neither the defender nor the attacker has committed an offence. If we go along with the half shin pad height advice from the UMB, and therefore because the ball went out of play, a long corner should have been, or 23-metre restart should have been the right decision. If the ball is above 8 inches, half shin pad height, then a free ball ought to have been awarded to the defending team. If the rules of hockey are followed, there is no situation in these circumstances where a short corner or penalty corner ought to be awarded. No intent by the defender, no advantage gained by the defending team. At the time of this World Cup match, forcing was still an offence, so the Great Britain or England player is more than a little surprised to be penalised for this forced foot contact, plus the obstruction of course.
Here's a chance for Dirk van der Heuvel to get it low to Lammers, wins the penalty corner.
Smart play there from Kim Lammers, knows exactly what she's doing as she twists and turns a stick around that ball to put it on the Australian defender's foot there. Great up game. As you can see, she just twirls it around, knows exactly what she's going for and makes sure of it as well.
It's astonishing to me that this kind of thing can be described as great hockey.
Rob Hammond works towards the circle, looks for the foot, finds the foot, Alistair Wilson's foot. First penalty corner of the second half goes to the Kookaburras.
As I said, Australia very effective up the end lines. Hammond all alone, not too many options, but because the ball was in the air as he was dribbling, and you can see it here on the replay, well, that's a bit unfair of a call. That ball is definitely lifted into the body of the English defender.
The Australian attacker ought to have been awarded a red card for this play. He was instead awarded a penalty corner. And the New Zealand player here deserved at least a green card, not the penalty corner he was awarded.
Bow. It's a bow still going. Up, was it up? It's a penalty corner. Razzie's going to refer this.
Well, he's suggesting it's a little bit high, I think. As the ball comes in, it is Tabau who went with great skill.
Dion, are you there? Yeah.
Dion Nell is the video umpire.
Inside or outside the circle, please. Otherwise, off the leg. Whatever looks in.
Okay, so they haven't referred the height, they are referring whether the contact was inside or outside the D. It's Tabau who drives forward, he's got his eyes up right from the very first contact, looking to come forward, he lifts that up.
It is outside.
For me, it's difficult because the feet are outside, but if the balance is backwards...
Outside the circle.
Well, yeah, but it's his feet, isn't it? It's like saying, if your feet are inside the goal, but the ball's on the other side of the goal line, your stick's on it, it's a goal.
When a ball is raised at an opponent within 5 metres, ball height is not a consideration for the foul criteria. That's a foul. Immediately after being hit with the raised ball, the Dutch defender goes to the umpire, gives him the correct signal and asks for a video referral. The umpire advises him that he would be wasting the referral and does not consult the video umpire. Using a self-pass after multiple touches, so it was difficult to know when it was started, the Spanish team take what was supposed to have been a 15-metre ball within 3 metres of the 23-metre line. The ball is lifted directly into the legs of a New Zealand player, and the New Zealand player penalised for ball body contact. This was dangerous play by the Spanish. Here is another form of forcing, what used to be called the manufacture of an obstruction offence. Instead of being given a red card that this play so richly deserved, the Dutch player was awarded a free ball. A number of incidents taken from one match. I consider the forcing of the ball into an opponent's legs with a high velocity hit to be a forcing offence. It's certainly reckless play and play without consideration for the safety of other players. Here the England player blasts the ball with an edge hit at close range into the legs of the German player. German player is penalised for foot contact. It's not wise here of the two German players to turn their back on the ball. That's not going to save them from pain. But the England player lifts the ball with a hit into the back of one of them. Players should not be allowed to play recklessly just because they're shooting towards the goal. That raised hit into the legs of a player within a metre was rewarded with the penalty corner, when a free ball to the defence would have been more appropriate. H. Schroeder is so incensed by the casual and deliberate playing of the ball onto her teammate's foot that she earns herself a card for dissent. But the received wisdom is that players expect these kind of decisions and demand them. I would like to see this kind of laziness removed from the game completely. An earlier incident, a lifted ball brushes the body of an England player before going out of play, which it would have done in any case. The England player was penalised. This was just silly. There was an offence by the German player. Here's an example of casual, cynical play. Some forcing is just brutal. Other examples are subtle and skillful. But by whichever means the ball is played onto an opponent's foot, it should be regarded as cheating. This decision goes back to the days when umpires were trying to impose a weird interpretation on the direction of retreat from a self-pass. Clear forcing offence. A clear impeding offence by the Dutch player here, but the forcing by the German player is just cynical. Another cynical example. The player at the back of the Dutch player, goal side of him, pushes the ball into his heels in order to win a penalty corner, which the umpire duly gives him. Having beaten the defender and got goal side of him, this attacker turns back on himself in order to force the ball into the foot of the defender he's just beaten. Here again, clearly deliberately playing for a foot contact. There's no pass target there. These kind of incidents make me cross. There is no reason whatsoever why a ball player who has had the ball forced into their feet should be penalised. The deletion of the forcing rule did not automatically turn the offence upside down, so that it then became an offence by the defender. In the second incident, the ball is actually lifted into the feet of the defender, which is a foul in itself. When a contact is forced in this way, unless the ball is lifted, the umpire should be just calling play on. Here we have multiple shielding, obstruction offences, followed by a spin in and forcing of the ball into the opponent's legs. Deliberate, cynical offence. This talented player who dribbles to the baseline, ignores the incoming forward that she could have passed the ball to or attempted to pass the ball to, and deliberately plays the ball into the legs of a defender. This player also spurns opportunity to pass the ball into the circle early.
Hayward's lofted pass. Good work in the circle and a penalty corner within, 2.5 minutes for New Zealand.
Yeah, this seriously a sloppy tackle for allowing the player to just look for the feet.
In the commentator's opinion, it is the fault of the defender that the attacker hit his feet. Here a Spanish defender, obtaining possession of the ball, tries to play it into the feet of the attacker. The attacker manages to stop the ball and plays the ball back into the feet of the Spanish player. Much to his disgust, a penalty corner is awarded. An umpire within 3 metres of the action mistakenly indicates for a 15-metre hit out when he should have awarded a 23-metre ball to the attackers. His colleague mistakenly corrects him and indicates a penalty corner. There seems to have been ball-body contact there, ball-foot contact there, but there was no shot going on target, so the claims of the forward for a penalty stroke were ridiculous. There was no intent, no advantage gained, so no offence. The correct decision would have been a 23-metre ball.
The ball strikes a foot or any other part of an opponent's body.
That is also incorrect, but maybe it's the case is that the commentator doesn't actually know the rules. That free hit should not have been given. The ball was deliberately flicked up into the New Zealand defender's legs by the Indian player, and a free hit should have been awarded to the New Zealand team for what is technically dangerous play. The umpire, of course, should have been much more aware of that than a television commentator, but appears not to have been. The German player here hits a restart ball up into the legs of a Dutch opponent with a hit. That's an offence. The ball hit the legs of the Dutch player, so of course the umpire awarded a free ball to the German side. The ball hits the defender and goes out of play when the defender is almost standing on the baseline. A restart on the 25-metre line should have been awarded. The ball is deliberately forced into the feet of the defender. There is no justification at all for penalising a player who has been hit with the ball in this way. More forcing of contact and automatic awarding of penalty corner. I see no sense in umpires taking up this position at a penalty corner. They can't see if the ball is raised towards an outrunner. Another baseline incident where the award of a penalty corner makes absolutely no sense at all. Obstruction and forcing here, but the umpire near the baseline has got no chance of seeing any of it. There's a common theme in these next four video clips. The player in possession of the ball turning back onto their own path and then trying to play the ball, or succeeding in playing the ball, into the legs of an opponent. This is of course two offences: obstruction and forcing by lifting the ball into the body.
England do well. They're going to refer it, are they? They're going to refer that, and I think that... Yeah, Simon Mason alongside me thinks it's definitely a foot. You see on the replay, the ball is kept strong. There's nothing wrong with the carrying position. There it just pops up. We can't see from that angle what it comes off. Initially, Rebecca challenged it. It'll be this angle that gives us an idea. Nothing wrong with the carry position. Rebecca coming back with the ball under control. as the England defence try and step in. The shave tackle, suggestion of backstick in the first instance, but does it come off the foot of Twig?
No, there's no foot in there. And the question is was there a foot? I don't
Twig's
think there's even
there's
a knee.
nothing wrong with that. What does that hit?
It's the back stick of the Argentina player, isn't it?
Well, I'm not sure. Well, we'll see from the angle. We got a decision. It's Twig who comes in. There, I think that suggestion, that's top of shin pad, but we haven't had anything that's clear. It's a suggestion.
Or is it
I'm
a
not
hand
sure. Is it hand of stick? A hand on stick?
The very clear obstruction carried out by the Argentinian player and the movement of her foot against the tackler's stick to brush it away were dismissed with nothing wrong with the carry position, and then the entire focus was on whether or not there had been a foot contact. The obstruction, which Simon Mason twice denied with nothing wrong with the carry position, is painfully obvious. There. And then turning and shielding the ball. After this point, Rebecca seems to be claiming that she is obstructed, but she cannot be obstructed unless she is her own goal side of the ball. Here an incoming attacker snaps the ball that rebounds off a defender high into the body of another defender. The umpire awards a penalty corner. The second one is much more dangerous because the ball is travelling at much greater velocity.
Chance here for China, the clever ball underneath, shot still on, oh dearie me!
No, that's an advantage. China can't ask for that. They've got a ball sitting there waiting to be hit. As it comes in, yes, there is a penalty corner. That ball off the stick now.
Ridiculous by the commentators. I'm surprised they didn't claim there was nothing wrong with the carry position of the Chinese player. No, this is not a penalty corner. Without intention and without advantage gains, there is no possibility of a penalty corner. What there is obstruction by the Chinese player who, having received and controlled the ball, does not move away with it but continues to shield it. As the commentators subsequently pointed out, the Chinese team gained the advantage from the contact because the ball ran for the Chinese player to take a shot at the goal. As the explanation given with the rule clearly states, if a player is hit with the ball, that player only commits an offence if they gain an advantage or if they position themselves with the intention of stopping the ball with any part of their body. When a goalkeeper kicks the ball into the back of one of our own defenders, there's obviously no intent by the defender to stop the ball, and it's difficult to imagine what possible advantage can be gained by the defending team because of this contact. An illustration of the way the rule is actually applied.